we're going to be playing in a huge creek. Woo!
On this adventure, we get to visit Chance's house in Iredell County, ride on an ATV, swim in a creek, and do all kinds of fun things. It's going to be a great adventure, so come along with us. Alright, sometimes when we're looking for animals, we end up in super sketchy places. Just like this place, where you're likely to take a kidnapped victim, or you might end up here as a plot of some kind of horror movie. It's going to be great. Let's see what's in this dilapidated old shack. Oh yeah. Not only is this place creepy already, but then we see this antique book called Kidnapped. What are we supposed to do with that? That's terrifying. So someone's got a playbook for kidnapping, and we're hanging out in their old shack. Awesome. Ha! Check this out. I've got a northern water snake, and he is an awesome snake. We're out here kind of playing around and swimming in this creek, and when I went down a little waterfall, I slid down, and as I started to swim and scramble and not let my feet touch the sharp rocks on the bottom, I saw him on a ledge, and I sent my little minion Chance, and he swam over there because he's an adept swimmer, and he got him and brought him over to me, and we brought him up on the bank to show you, because a lot of people mistake this animal for a venomous reptile. Now it is completely harmless and non-venomous. The northern water snake has a couple characteristics that can help us know that he's not venomous. The first obvious thing is his head isn't triangular like most pit vipers that we have in the southeast. Like all pit vipers that we have in the southeast, actually. Now, his head is not triangular, it's more like the shape of your thumb. His eyes, his pupils are actually rounded, whereas a venomous snake like the Copperhead, which he's compared to often, the Copperhead's eyes will be vertical slit pupils, whereas his are round pupils. And then of course, his pattern really honestly doesn't look that much like a Copperhead if you've ever seen them side by side. Now this is a wonderful snake. He's often got a bad reputation because he's very apt to try to bite, strike, and even musk and kind of make a really territorial threat display when he feels threatened. But he is a great snake. He's very beneficial for the environment. He eats fish, frogs, basically any kind of aquatic vertebrate that's out swimming around or hopping around in the water. We actually witnessed him eating 2 little minnow fish that we put in the bucket with him while we were transporting him up here, so that was really cool to watch. But this is a beautiful snake, so if you do see one, don't kill it. Don't kill any snakes, because we know that snakes are amazing. But if you want to positively identify him, you can tell by the shape of the head, the shape of the eyes, and the pattern, and you'll know right off the bat that this animal is harmless and he means you no malice. He's a great animal, and I hope you learned something.
This is how you get away from the cops.
Welcome to this episode of Plants with Chance. I've made a leaf costume and I have attacked Thomas. We're going to show you some alocasias and what I have made this costume out of. Okay guys, we're in my tropical garden and we're talking about a family of plants called colocasias. This is called Colocasia esculentia mojito, and it's called mojito because there was a guy in Hawaii that produced this actual strain that produces these crazy artistic camo looking leaves. Colocasias in certain countries of the world, they grow them in fields called taro fields, and they eat the tuber. It produces a really big bulb, and these guys are edible, and they're also for show, like in my tropical garden out here. Colocasias, like this regular green esculentha, produce large, huge green leaves, and they even get bigger than this. Well, having a big leaf and a large surface area, these plants take a lot of water to maintain them, so you have to water them daily if you keep these. If you don't, they'll slump and eventually it'll start dying and burning on the edges. Okay, as we've seen, colocasias can be huge, like the green one we saw back there, or really tiny, like this Colocasia Athens Jenningsi. These guys are fun to grow in a pot. They don't survive our winters, which is unfortunate. This has been Plants with Chance. Let's check back with Stan Lake to see comparisons of copperheads.
So today, we're riding around in our T-Rex 4x4 800, and it is an awesome vehicle. We're having a lot of fun. I accidentally said a bad word one time when we almost flipped over, but it's awesome, and God will forgive me because He loves me.
Jesus, take the wheel.
So we're just walking through the woods, and right behind me, guarding the trail on the way back out, are like 4 or 5 wilder horses. That one's a unicorn that lost its horn. I've never seen a horse in the woods. I'm a little freaked out. If I'm being honest, I can play with reptiles and venomous snakes all day long, but big mammals sometimes freak me out because they'll kick me right in the face. He's turned around to kick me. I know that's what he wants to do. A little freaky. Let's go pet one. These wilder horses are great. Do he bite? I don't want to play with them anymore. Horses freak me out. Alright guys, right here I'm with one of my favorite local pit vipers, the Copperhead, Chistrodon contortrix, which basically breaks down to meaning hook-toothed contortrix. Contortrix, kind of like how they, if you've ever grabbed a copperhead with a hook or something, you can tell how they writhe around and contort their bodies so that they get out of the way. So they're kind of hard to hold, and rightfully so. You don't want to hold this animal. He wants to get away from you. He's not an evil animal. This is a great animal. Now, we talked earlier about how to tell the difference between a venomous pit viper like this guy versus a non-venomous snake like the northern water snake. Now, some things that we can pay special attention to on this animal is the fact that his head is triangular shaped. Now, a lot of the reason for that shape is because he has these venom glands back here around his jaws where he retracts those fangs and he's able to pump venom into you. And that kind of distorts the shape of his head. It makes it that triangular shape, and that's where you get the distinction. Now, him being a copperhead, obviously his head is actually copper colored. On younger ones, much smaller than this guy, you'll actually see a green tail which looks like a bright chartreuse green, and they use that for what's called caudal luring. Now, this animal is an amazing animal. You can tell that the patterning on him is very saddled, not banded like some of the water snakes, not patterned like some of the black rat snake babies that people confuse them for. It's a very distinct, sandy looking pattern that he has. Now, if we get really close, and I don't recommend it if you're not familiar with snakes, but if you ever do see his face and his eyes, you could tell that he has vertical pupils. That's also another way. Another way, you could tell he has little pits in the front of his mouth, in the front of near his nose. And that's why they call him a pit viper. Those are heat detecting pits that help him know where his prey items are. But obviously, again, you don't want to get that close to him if you don't know what a snake is. My best advice is, if you don't know what it is, leave it alone and don't kill it. All snakes aren't evil. Actually, no snakes are evil. This is a great animal, and I truly believe that it was created for a purpose. This one specifically, they take care of rodents in the woods which carry the plague, which carry Lyme disease, fleas and ticks that kind of latch on to these animals. They take care of them and keep those numbers of diseases that plague human beings down. They're also valuable in medical research. So they've used these guys for years in studying the effects of cancer cells. They've made a serum called contortristatin that helps surround cancer cells in breast cancer patients. And it doesn't cure it, but what it'll do is it'll help prevent it from spreading any further. And in a lot of cases, the serum made from their venom is actually binding around these cancer cells and flushing them out of the system. So there's a lot to be derived from the great animal that is the copperhead snake. Now, just like I've talked about in the past and what I've written about in my book, copperhead venom, or snake venom in general, it's about the context in which you see it. A lot of Christians talk about how they preach the Bible, they preach Scripture, they quote Scripture, but they say these things without the love of Christ. And so in that context, it's not received well. Just like venom in the wrong context is life-taking, in the right context, it's life-giving. And that's the same with this animal. He's a beautiful animal. We believe he was created. We believe that he has a purpose and that he's created very good. And so we want to leave him on his way. We want to leave him exactly where he is and let him go on in the woods and blend in perfectly like he was designed to blend in. Because as you see, this animal is not evil. He's not trying to get me. He's not trying to hurt me. And he's letting me be where I'm at, and he's staying where he's at. He's not vicious. He's a wonderful, wonderful animal. So this has been the copperhead snake, and we learned today how they're good and not an evil animal. And just like the northern water snake, all snakes are good. None of them are out to get you. They're designed for a purpose. My name's Stan Lake. You've been watching Catching Creation, and I'll see you next time. Adios. Thanks for watching this installment of Catching Creation. If you just can't get enough of these adventures, I encourage you to go to catchingcreation.com/store, and you can see all the other stuff that we've filmed, the children's books and devotional books that I've written, and all other things that will help encourage you not only in your walk, but that you can give to other people to encourage them. And as always, please feel free to be a part of our adventure. Share us on Twitter, share our adventures on Facebook, subscribe to the newsletter and the blog, and stay up to date with all that's going on with Catching Creation. Until next time, I'll see you later.